we got all of this press we were not expecting at all. Like The Guardian put us in the top 15 bookstores of the world. And we were like, what?
That's Miranda Bressman, and this is the Powerful Ladies Podcast. Hey guys, I'm your host, Cara Duffy, and this is the Powerful Ladies Podcast, where I invite my favorite humans, the awesome, the up to something, and the extraordinary to come and share their story. I hope that you'll be left entertained, inspired, and moved to take action towards living your most powerful life. Miranda Bressman is a secret multipreneur. While working demanding corporate jobs and action sports by day, she's also been launching businesses with her husband and business partners. She owns a comic book store in LA, 2 rental properties, created and released a hilarious card game, and is now plotting her next great new business. Now that she's switched from corporate employee to being a consultant, with her extra flexibility and time, I can only imagine what else she'll create now. On this episode, we talk through her tough childhood, how her gang of girlfriends is serious business, and what it's like to be discovering just how truly great her husband is after 20 years, multiple businesses, and an incredible daughter together. All that and so much more coming up, but first. If you're interested in discovering what possibilities and businesses are available for you to create and to live your most fulfilling life, please visit thepowerfulladies.com/coaching and sign up for a free coaching consultation with me. There is no reason to wait another day to not be living your best life, when you instead could be running at full speed towards your wildest dreams today. Well, welcome to the Powerful Ladies Podcast.
Awesome. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. We finally got you.
I know, finally.
Well, let's start. Let's tell everyone who you are and what you're up to.
My name is Miranda, and what do you want to know about who I am? That's kind of a big question.
Well, we'll get into a lot of that, but maybe we just say, okay. What do you do right now, and what are you creating right now?
So right now, doing quite a bit of things. We being my husband and myself, we have some vacation rentals that we've been running for coming up on 3 years. That during the quarantine, that has become kind of our main source of income. Mm-hmm. Even though people aren't supposed to be traveling, they are. In addition to that, we also have a card game called the Florida Man card game. That was my husband's brainchild. And along with our business partners, we created a card game that is awesome. And in addition to that, we have comic book stores, and I think that's all. I'm also doing project management work, contracting. Mm-hmm. So kind of a lot right now, and homeschooling my daughter.
Just a few things. Yeah.
Not much.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we met when we were both working at DC, which then became tri-branded Quicksilver Roxy DC. How did you get into the action sports skate world?
Wow. Purely by accident. I mean, I had friends when I was in high school that were skateboarders. That was like mainly kind of the crew that I hung out with. Mm-hmm. But when I was in college, like junior college, kind of jumping around, it was a part-time job that I found because I was so broke. And I worked in the warehouse folding t-shirts for a local skate company. And that's how I started. And then I just kept going from there. And eventually I started making so much money because I moved up in that company to like front office work and then sales and had commission. I just kind of stopped going to school after a few years, and I stayed in the industry for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And as I pointed out on the Thrive Collective, our Powerful Ladies awesome online community, that you also were a model for skateboarding world.
Yes. So at that same company, my first job in skateboarding, there's this woman, her name's Kiva, and she had a girls' collection of clothing, and it had a very little niche following of like the skateboard girl. And, shot all of our own ads. We would have, she would have fashion shows at trade shows like the ASR show. So it was mainly just, friends doing it for free. And she was part of my work family. So I was in, a couple of photo shoots and a couple of modeling little shows. But yeah, it was fun. It's part of the job.
And I think it's like, it's not every woman gets to say like, oh yeah, I used to be a model.
Yeah. not a big time model, but yeah, it was definitely fun.
Yeah.
Like, early 20s modeling. Yeah.
So how did you go from folding t-shirts and modeling to spreadsheets and cost analysis? Which is where we spend a lot of time together.
Yeah. Wow. I think it was just part of growing up, really. And finding what really I was comfortable in doing and not what was just like given to me as an opportunity. Because, my first opportunity from folding t-shirts was to do sales. And that's not something that I would go into because I'm very introverted and I don't have the kind of personality where I'm trying to like sell things. So it really was not something that I would do, but I made good money at it. And it was mostly because of the relationships I built, not because I was a good salesperson. And from there, I've been really lucky, really fortunate. I've been given a lot of different opportunities to try things that I didn't have any experience in, like designing. I was a footwear designer for about 4 or 5 years. And I really liked the creative part of that, but it's like not something that comes naturally or is easy. Like it took me 5 times as long to come up with the same kind of design that my colleagues were doing. So after a while, I was like, this is too hard. And I moved into development, which I found I fit in a lot better in that field because I like to fix things and to be a little bit more analytical. I do have a creative side, but for me, that just was a lot easier. So that's kind of where I landed. And I was like, yeah, I like this. This works a lot better for me.
Well, and for people who don't know, a developer in footwear, you're the liaison between the designer and the manufacturer. So there is a lot of creative work because, of course, you're making sure that all of the specs and information get passed off the right way back and forth. But you're also the on-the-ground person, problem-solving engineer work, with the factory or with the designer or just with whoever the team is. It's a job that no one knows about really outside of the industry, which is actually a really cool job. And I think if more people knew it existed, they would want to pursue that path. What did you like about it?
You're right that nobody really knows about this job. And you can't go to school for it right now. So it's just all about, the experience, and being in design helped me bridge that new career path because they do work together hand in hand. But what I really liked about it, besides all the analytical stuff, I really like working with teams and making things come together. So I liked the project management kind of part of it. I wouldn't say the technical part was my favorite part. I did enjoy that, but I really like, working with the people, working with teams, working together to make a project come to life, and being that middleman.
Yeah,
sort of hub of information.
It's fun.
Yeah,
like there's I never felt working in footwear that there was a problem that we couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
And there's something rewarding about that, and just knowing that together we would get to where we needed to go. I also think the other part that people have no idea is happening if they're not in the industry is all the shenanigans that exist. Like when your work is complete. Like, unless someone's been to Asia for work in footwear or apparel, they don't know what it's like to, like, why aren't you sleeping? Well, because we're going to dinner with every factory and every vendor, and they're forcing us to drink, and they just want us to, like, they just enjoy hanging out with us and want to have a good time. And like, you don't really sleep when you go, even if you really want to. Like, it's hard.
Yeah, it is. You work for, your work day is, I don't know, 12, 13 hours. And then you're like, okay, I just want to go back to my hotel and take a shower real quick. Nope, no, we're going to go straight to dinner. It's a 2-hour drive in the opposite direction of your hotel. And then we're going to have this amazing meal, 15 courses.
Yeah.
And drink lots of whatever the drink is on the table. And then we're going to go do karaoke.
Yeah.
And then the van is going to pick you up at 7 a.m. to do it again. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard to you have that mix of like being privileged that you're there and have this opportunity, and just wishing you could have like a normal day where you got to like do your work and feel complete and sleep.
Yes, I know.
But it's some of my favorite memories. Like, I'm just thinking about even the photos I have of you and I in Asia, between like karaoke and when we crashed that wedding at that restaurant.
Yeah.
And like, it's good memories. And it's obviously a really fast way to bond with your team and the factory workers too.
Yeah, it is. It's really good bonding. And they work so hard. It's like, for them, they don't get to do that sort of thing.
Right.
So when you come and visit, they're like, finally, I get to celebrate all my hard work. And they just go crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. Those people I miss those people the most.
Yeah. I was going through all of the business cards I have from like each job. They were organized. I've been like going through them all lately as my paper purge in my house. And there's so many people, I was like, oh, I forgot about him. He's awesome, or her. And it is like the level of work. I mean, their normal day or work week is 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And 12 to 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
And half of them live in a dorm. They don't see their family. And they're doing this to kick butt and make our projects come to life. And it's like, wow, like, it's really impressive, not only their diligence in their work ethic, but how passionate they get about making sure the crazy, weird things that we're excited about actually can happen.
Yeah. They're amazing. Like, I don't know that I could do that.
No.
But some of them, their families don't even live in the same country. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's not like
they're dedicated.
Yeah. And they're not getting like vacation to go back and forth or things like that. So
no, or even a weekend ever.
Yeah. and it's like, they're excited. Like, they have a great job and they love what they do. So I don't want to paint this picture that it's a forced labor scenario, but
no. Yeah.
It's just a totally different expectation of what it looks like to have a great career than we have here.
Yeah. They have like so much pride in their work. So much.
Yeah. What are you most proud of from all your years in footwear?
Oh my goodness. I would say the thing that I'm most proud of is like my most recent experience, which was working. I started focusing on one brand in particular, and the team was just like oil and water and toxic, and really, like, within the company that we worked at, it was the one brand where you're like, please don't make me work with that brand. They're crazy. And of course I get assigned to work with that brand, and I'm like, duh, fine. And by the time like I had left the company, that brand was the brand that everyone wanted to work for, because they were like family. Everybody just like loved each other, got along. And even though I don't like to take credit or give myself credit when it's due, I should, because I came in and I kind of changed everything that was going on with that team and made them come together. And it was just awesome. And, being a mentor to some of the people that reported to me, and seeing like seeing them grow and just how happy they were and what they were doing was, for me, that was like my greatest accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah.
for sure. And because it was like it was one of those opportunities where you were responsible for the team.
Yeah.
Right. Because you were in so many other positions that were important, but had minimal team. Right. Like, and I feel like you and I were in similar placements at that company where we kept getting put where like people maybe didn't want to be, or like, we don't know how to fix this. Like, you go do it, and you'd be like, fine, only because I like you.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like if you did a chart of where our path took us, it would be like such a crazy zigzag loop, and like it would make no sense. There was no linear sense to where we were going. But I think you should give yourself credit, because it really shows how flexible and resourceful and creative and just business minded you are, that you could fit in all those places.
Yeah, it was for how just that company ended up being. It really did give me a lot of different opportunities. Like you were saying, I jumped around a lot, and I did some things that I really didn't want to do, but it turned out to be a good experience. And so overall, that 10 years of my life was worth it for sure. I met some really good people. I did some really good things. I did some things I didn't want to do, but it was good.
Mm-hmm. And the whole time that you were kicking butt those 10 years, you always had side businesses happening.
Yes. The first thing that we started doing was that we opened a comic book store. I want to say this year is a 15-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Of the store. Thank you. It's called The Secret Headquarters. It's in Silver Lake, LA. And it was mainly, my husband was like into comics, and he hated going to comic book stores. Hated it because he's like, they don't take any pride in anything. Like, I hate walking in here. I just want to be able to go somewhere that I like. So he wasn't even really thinking about like the consumer and what they would like. He was thinking about what he wanted to do. And his good friend moved out here from Florida. And we became business partners with him and his wife. They weren't married at the time, but they wanted to do something together. So he was coming out here. His name is Dave, and my husband's name is David. So the Daves. And he's like, I don't want to just get a job. Like, I want to do something. And David was like, me too. I want to do something. I want to open some sort of store. And they're skateboarders. So they're like, let's open a skate shop. And David's like, hell no. Like, no, we're not doing a skate shop. And they both read comics. So anyways, they made it come to life. And it still has been going for 15 years. And it's, at the time, there was not another comic book store like it. The aesthetic was very much like cigar shop, like take pride in those books. And it's not a joke, there aren't posters everywhere. Like, this is a nice curated store. We got a little bit of negative, like, oh, you guys are snobs because of the way that it looked.
Yeah.
But the positive, like, farly outweighed that kind of criticism. And like, we got all of this press we were not expecting at all. Like, The Guardian put us in the top 15 bookstores of the world. And we were like,
that's
what?
Incredible.
Yeah. Like, things like that were going on. And we were just like, holy shit. Wow, we're really onto something. And we had a few other stores open up that totally bit our style. But we were like, that, you know what, that's fine. It's good. So that has been going on. And through the years, I took some time off and worked at the store. And, it's mainly the two of them that run it. But Trisha, the other partner, and myself, we've always like collaborated with them and been a part of it and funded it in the beginning. The wives supplied, the bread makers supplied the money, and they let the boys go run off with their idea.
No, I think I'm so glad that you brought that up, because people always wonder how an entrepreneurial business starts? Because especially today, you hear mostly about Y Combinator tech companies that have rounds of investing. When the truth is, like 80% of small businesses are founded or started with someone's own money, and there's no other financing. There is no loan. There is no Kickstarter. It's just you and whatever you have in your savings account, or if you don't, figuring it out with a credit card. But most people are fully self-funded. And there's also a mix of, for people who haven't been totally self-funded, like even Coco Chanel started Chanel because someone she was having an affair with gave her the money.
Nice.
So there's so many of these businesses where it's like, you know, the husband or wife is contributing while the other one's working, and like what that tag team looks like. And usually it's the other way around. Usually the husband's working and he's supporting financially this idea that his wife has. So I love that you guys are like, you were the funders, the financiers for their brainchild.
Yeah, we were. And this was before either family had kids. So we were both, you know, very same age, same interests, two couples, two Daves, a Miranda and a Trish. And we were the breadwinners, and we completely funded the thing. And a lot of it, if not all of it, went onto a credit card when we first started. We had like 0% whatever on the card. So everything went on that card. And it is incredibly easy to start your own business or store, at least. I never even thought to like pursue it whenever I would have an idea, because I was, oh my God, it must be so hard. You have to have all this money, and you really don't. If you have like a good idea and it's like you're authentic to your idea, like David had this idea and it was like very much his and what he wanted. If you stick to that, it's way easier than you think. And he's like, why did I go to college? Like, I have these college debt. I'm doing nothing with my major, and I've always wanted to have my own store. Like, all I had to do is just do it.
Yes. I want to repeat that. You just have to do it. Like, everyone listening, you just have to do it. Like, there's no other magic secret except that. Just start.
Yeah, just start. And I'm not going to say that the first year was easy. It was rough. But I mean, you know, we did it. The four of us figured it out, and 15 years later, it's still going strong. Even during this quarantine, we're still going.
Yeah. And just like every other business, you're pivoting it so it still works. It still functions.
Yeah. We're, you know, doing everything online right now. All of our customers are ordering their stuff online, and we make sure to ship it out same week.
Yeah. Well, then when you and David met, did you ever think that you would become business partners in multiple businesses?
No. I mean, so we met through the skateboard industry. This is funny because we met through some PLM work, which is now what I'm doing again. I'm contracting, helping build a PLM system. But he and I were like both the super users at this company, and he worked in a different office, so I would have never met him. But I was like, I don't know, 20s, being my badass self, and he's in there, and he's like, "Who's going to be your partner, Miranda?" And I'm like, "I'll take that guy," because he had like a really, just his look on his face was kind of like what my look always is, like, ugh. And he always seemed grumpy, and I'm like, that guy, yeah, sure. And that's how we met, but I was not interested in him at all. And about a year after we had met, he was emailing me and asked me on a date, but I didn't realize that's what he was doing. And I'm like, wait, are you flirting with me? And he's like, geez, it's about time you noticed. And I was like, So I went on a date reluctantly. I really didn't want to. And all my friends are like, he's such a nice guy. And I'm like, because I only date mean, bad boy, like jerks. And he's not one of them. So I was like, ew. I went on a few dates. I was not interested. And
That's so funny.
somehow he broke me down and it just clicked like a light. But yeah, he tells everyone, my daughter, she's like, was it love at first sight? And he's like, not for your mother. But no, I never thought that we would have our own. I never even thought I would be married, let alone have businesses with a man. I was very much like, I'm doing my thing. That's it. Yeah, but it's been great. He's very supportive and he is like not afraid to take chances. Like I never would have just taken that chance. I'm too much like practical. We have to make sure we're paying this bill and this bill. And he's very much like, let's just do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we complement each other very well in that way.
Mm-hmm. What made you guys want to get into vacation rental properties?
Mainly because originally we were going to try to get a place in Palm Springs. And it was because every year for Thanksgiving, we get together with our partners, Dave and Trish, and now our kids, and we have Thanksgiving, just us, the two families. Every once in a while, someone else will join, but it's mainly we're the group. And every year we would go to Palm Springs, and we're like, oh, I hate spending all this money. Like we had some money from selling our first house, and we wanted to do something with it. So we were like, we should invest in a rental because, for one, if we won't have to pay to come here. And we were going to Palm Springs, just the three of us a lot with our daughter. I go on girls' trips there. And he's like, think of all the money we would save if we had a place. And then also we could probably rent it out as well. So we're like, yeah. And then we started thinking about it as a vacation rental. And Palm Springs is so saturated. We were looking for a house to go have Thanksgiving with them. And Idyllwild comes up in the search because they're in the same county. And I was like, oh my God, I think I went there once for like sixth grade camp or something. I don't even know what this place is. Let's go check it out, because we couldn't find Palm Springs place. And we were like, this is a hidden gem. Holy shit. The housing was super cheap compared to like anywhere else in LA. And we were like, let's try it out.
Yeah.
You know, the worst case, we have a place to go. The mortgage is cheap. It's so nice up here, you know, so we tried it out and it's totally been working. And then we bought a second place like a year ago. And yeah, it's continuing to work for us. And we go there a lot. And we have our Thanksgivings there now with our family of Trish and Dave. Yeah, it's awesome.
No, I love it. And then I would also love to talk about the Florida Man game, because we have one in our house. We were playing it over Christmas. And we love games. Like I grew up in a game family where like a Saturday night as a family would involve game night or a movie night. So playing games is like what we do when we're together as a family. There's a lot of card games. It's very competitive. Yeah. Like my sister just won her first phase 10 ever on her birthday last weekend. For 30 or 29 years, she had never won until like a weekend ago. That's how competitive we are. So when that game came out, I was like, yes, a new game. Because once you learn one a couple of times, you're like, okay, like we kind of know this is going to go. What's next? So where did that idea come from? And like, just tell everyone about it.
Okay. So this idea, it was from kind of the same thing, game night. And I am not a game person at all. And David, my husband, he is, and he's very competitive. That's mainly why I won't play games with him. Because if we get on the same team, he's like rides my ass. And I'm like, we're not playing for money. Like, can you chill? So I'm not a big game person. But we're having Thanksgiving together with our friends. And David, he lived in Florida during his high school years. And Dave grew up in Florida. And that's actually where they met, was in Florida, and became lifelong friends. And so David has always been following he gets like crazy alerts on his phone for everything. So he had Florida in there, and he was talking about the whole Florida man thing before it was a thing. And he's always he has tons of ideas just pouring out of him all the time. And maybe like 5% of them you could actually do something with.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, what if we did this? What if we did that? But like the Florida man thing was kind of like, he's like, we have to do something with Florida man, because he'd bring it up when it's the four of us, because, you know, two of them lived in Florida. And he's like, can you believe this shit? And he's like, we have to do something. We have to do something, like do this or that. And then we decided one Thanksgiving, like we should make a game out of it. Like, yes. And so we came up with all these ideas for different types of board games over that like 4-day vacation after the kids would go to bed. And a lot of them they were too complicated. There were too many rules. And we narrowed it down to having it be what it is today. And it's basically like a Mad Libs. And, you know, you take the actual headline of whatever this Florida person did, which is usually something insane, and you remove, you know, certain key words, and you replace it with something that you draw, and it becomes sometimes it's not as crazy as the real headline, but it's like tons of laughs ensue. And one of the things that we liked when we did like a test run, and we had everything on paper before we decided whether or not this could be a thing. We played with another couple, and it was the 3 couples. We went for maybe 4 hours, and we didn't even get through the deck, because one of the things was, do we have enough cards? You know, is this playable? Like, is it fun? Whatever. And we got through 4 hours, didn't get through the deck, laughed, like crying, my face hurt. And it's like, are we even going to think this stuff's still funny? Because we've been talking about it for a year, and now it's kind of a thing where a bunch of people, is it played out yet? But we had such a good time. And the thing that I liked about it, and I don't like playing games, is that it sparked a lot of conversation. So you couldn't get through a hand without stopping and talking. And because it's an actual real headline, looking it up, looking at the person, the mugshot, and you're like, oh my God. And or like reading the rest of the story, because it gets even more crazy. And then, oh, that reminds me of this person I knew. Like, that's why it took 4 hours. It was because of, you know, the conversations. And it was just, I didn't know the couple that came to play the game before we did it. And after it, I was like, these people are awesome. You know, it's like, it was fun. And so we talked about it for about a year, and, you know, everyone had their day jobs, so we didn't have time to focus on it. And the 4 of us don't really get together that often, because we moved to Long Beach and they still live in LA, so we really don't see each other as much as we used to. So every once in a while we talk about it. But once I got laid off from my job, I was like, all right, it's time to do it. Let's do it. And we had the game made pretty quickly. And so we were trying to release it on Thanksgiving, and it was a year from, you know, the time where we first came up with the concept. So it took about a year to get it done. And that was this past Thanksgiving.
No,
it's fun. Yeah, but same thing where we got all this weird press, not weird, but awesome press that we were not expecting. We did a Kickstarter. Because we had learned through the store, if you can, you should try not to use your own money.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's try that first. So yeah, we did a Kickstarter, and we hit our goal, and everything went great. And so after we launched the Kickstarter, my husband was like looking for alerts on his phone for like Florida Man, what's going on with Florida Man. And there was one about a card game. And of course, the first thing that I think is, oh my God, somebody beat us to it.
Yep.
Because we had like all of these ideas. We've had a ton of ideas. And then it comes out and we're like, God damn it. You know, we didn't act quick enough. And I like look at David, and I think he was thinking the same thing. I was like, someone else, what? Shit. And then we hit the link, and it's a newscaster in Miami talking about our Kickstarter on the news.
So random.
And I was like, what? So we had a few different news stations pick it up just through like probably their searches and things that they are looking for to report on. But it was cool. We got all this press that we were not expecting.
Are most of your sales from Florida or from outside of Florida?
No, I wouldn't say that most of them were, but we do have some for sure. But it's pretty spread out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's fun.
Good. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were super, like when we shipped it out, finally, we had been talking about it and like making the card, like I did all the art layout. So I looked at the cards over and over and over, and I'm like, this isn't funny. This isn't funny to me. People are not gonna, are people even gonna like this game now? Like Florida Man's kind of played out by this point because it's become a thing now. Like we should have done it sooner. And I was very negative. And so once it shipped, I'm like, oh, I hope people have as much fun as we did. So yeah, I'm always asking for feedback, but I haven't. A lot of the people that bought the game are just like people that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And we just did, we're running a campaign for, we're discounting the game because of quarantine, and we want people to be able to buy copies and send them to their friends and have a game night with their friends.
Oh, I like that. Buy one, send one.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, we're offering like a deep rad discount. We also have Florida Woman, yeah. So when we first were like, okay, let's get this game done and out, we had so much content, and we realized after we played it, like we have enough for 2 other expansion packs. And I'm like, we have enough Florida Women's stuff for a Florida Woman game. So we made all of those at the same time, and we didn't really push Florida Woman at all. But people have been buying it. So yeah, all of our games right now are 25% off with a later Gator discount code for the remainder of the quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so we talked about after this, we want to figure out a way to have a Zoom, maybe some sort of contest where you get to play with the creators of the game.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out how that's going to work and how we want to do it. But we definitely want to play with some of the people that we don't know that have gotten the game, because we've played with friends, and I want to play with some strangers.
It's like the esports of Florida Man.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
So that's definitely on our list to do, to have a game night with some of the people that have gotten the game from us.
Yes. And then I just want to, whether I play or not, I just want to watch that happen. That would be so entertaining.
For sure.
What has been the biggest changes for you with the quarantine? I mean, of course, you've discounted your game, but like you have a brick and mortar store, you have 2 vacation rental properties, you have this game that is accessible during quarantine. You also have your consulting job, and you have a 8-year-old daughter. 8, yeah. And like, how is all of that happening? Like, how can you be a multipreneur and now a teacher and now like pivoting your whole life?
I like the timing because I was actually going through like kind of like self-assessment, because I was juggling so many things at once and trying to figure out what to focus on. So, I've been reading these books, I've been listening to podcasts, and I've been going to like meetings and seminars, like Powerful Ladies stuff, to really, and so for me, it was kind of like I was already trying to pause and figure out my priorities, and this kind of forced me to do it because I couldn't go out and still have my social life, which was that time now I'm using to really kind of organize my thoughts and my projects and get that going. So it's not a huge change for me, other than my daughter not being able to go out and me not being able to go out. But I'm kind of thankful for it, for sure, because it has helped me reassess and what my priorities are and what I want to do. But as far as the juggling, I have to, each week I reset my priorities because there's so much going on. So I stop each week, like tonight I'll do it, and map out next week and be like, what is important for me to focus on next week, instead of like setting the goals too far. Like, what do I want to accomplish this year or with my life? It's like week by week. And sometimes something goes wrong or happens during the week where I even midweek change my focus and my priorities. That's how I've been dealing with it.
Yeah. No, I totally relate to that. And it's a different level of like exhaustion, I think, also, because we were talking at a earlier recorded podcast about how much we've had to learn in the past 4 weeks. It's probably the same amount we've learned in the past 4 years as adults, because we're learning new technologies and new processes, or how do we connect this. And I think it's great that we're definitely maxing the capacity of our brains right now, which sometimes as an adult can feel underutilized. But it's tiring because we constantly have to keep moving our operations and our processes, and we don't get to actually do the work a lot. It's, oh, I was going to do A, B, and C, but now I have to do like A, Z, X. Like it all gets jumbled. And, like even how much time I've spent in calendars for other companies. Like it's the same like stress for my own calendar right now, where I'm like, oh, like, okay, if that moves, everything else is shift 8 times, and trying to launch things as soon as possible. But then like, okay, well, do we launch it now and sacrifice a true like marketing launch just to get it out because we know people need it? Like, how do you make those choices? And so I've been forcing my team to have a lot more like huddles, because I feel like the only thing I don't want to do is risk making changes in a vacuum too fast. So like, what is it like for you and all of your business partners? Like, are you guys talking a lot more than you normally would?
Yeah, we are, for sure. We like a lot more than we normally would, because we would maybe like once every 3 or 4 months, we would have a dinner where we would talk about things. Now we have a weekly meeting where we all get on Zoom and figure out what we're doing for that week.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more. And that, besides for like my businesses, I've also been doing that on a personal level, because I'm trying to like, I'm doing a lot of like self-help reading and activities and stuff. So I have to set weekly touch base with like friends of mine. Yeah. Because they make sure that I am like following what I'm supposed to be doing. So there's a lot more meetings and huddles with other people, and not just trying to do everything by myself.
Yeah. Which I think is a great segue into talking about how influential other women have been in your life. Because I know that you have such an amazing group of girlfriends. You guys are really committed to keeping those relationships going no matter what else is happening. Like, tell us about that, and like how that started, and even what it's been like over the ages.
So for me, my friendships have been very important, because I did not have a good home life. When I was younger, I didn't have like a very strong or even a family unit at all. So my first true friends that I met were in middle school when I was 12, and I'm still friends with them today. And my friendships for me are that family unit that I didn't have. So it's very important, like how families will get together every year for holidays. Like I have to get together with these group of women every year, at least once a year. And, we all live in different places now. Some are in different countries, different cities. So they've been my support system. I mean, everything that a family member should be, that's what my group of girlfriends have been to me.
Mm-hmm.
We totally support each other, and they're just my family.
Yeah.
And yeah, so every year we get together and we have a little girls trip, and me and one of my best friend, my BFF, she's also a coach. She's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Her and I were like, okay, we're planning these trips, and we're crazy like planners. And so we would have like an agenda, we have goodie bags,
Mm-hmm.
we'd find the place. We wouldn't let anyone see pictures or know about it because we wanted it to be this surprise and experience. And it's been our first year that we did it was actually the first year we opened the comic book store. So we've been doing it for 15 years
Mm-hmm.
with the same core group. And there have been like people that have floated in and out, but it's always been like the same core group of about 7 of us. And yeah, it's just they just have given me support and been like, they're the ones that I go to when I need to get advice, or just, yeah, they're my family.
I love it. If you, next time you're planning your event, go check out sprinklewithpinkshop.com. They do all custom stuff for girl weekends. So
Yeah,
lots of fun things for your next goodie
that
bags.
would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Because we do custom stuff
Mm-hmm.
too. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's always a t-shirt,
Yeah.
at least. Yeah, it depends on what we're feeling that year, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they've been ridiculous, the goodie bags.
It's like going to girls camp.
Yeah, so fun.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I'm working on right now that's in early development is with 2 of the girls in my girl crew. And we decided I actually got inspiration on one of your weekly.
How to sell what you know?
Maybe it might have been that. Yeah. And I don't know if it was a comment you made or one of the other women made, but I started thinking of something and I'm like, oh my God, I have to call Trish after this because I just have this idea. And so her and I talked to our other friend, and we are working on something where it's going to be workshops in the form of a retreat.
Love it.
And it's basically like a women, not only women, but it was funny because I was like, I have this idea. And Trish is like, oh my God, I've been thinking about that too. And then Summer was like, are you fucking kidding me? Did I say this out loud to you? Because I'm thinking of that too. And I was like, what? No, yay. So, we were talking about it, and we all had the similar idea of, for women around our age that are going through not a midlife crisis, but like a midlife metamorphosis, where you're like, okay, I've been doing this for my family and my career and, whatever. And now I want to figure out what I want to go in a direction that's more intentional.
Yes.
And figure out what it is what that is. And so, we're in super early stages. We've only had 2 meetings about it so far.
No, I love it. I love that you guys were all synergistically having the same idea. I love that you got inspired from Powerful Ladies event. And I love that it's like, I hear when you're talking about it, like you really see what you can provide for people. Like,
yeah.
If more people were doing work that was in their love language space, like you guys were planning these events for 15 years for no profit, just because you wanted to, and you probably put more work into those projects than you did other things.
Yes.
Like that's where I think people get shy about like lean in on what you do, even if you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Because there's always a way to get paid for it.
Yeah. That's always been my issue. And we're all very different, so we have different like perspectives and stuff. And Summer, who's also a coach, she's very similar to you, and she was like, this could totally be a thing. Like people want to do this.
Yeah.
It's not just you that thinks it's cool. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? You're probably right. Like I would totally do that. I would totally pay to go to one of these retreats. It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So that's my next big project.
I love
that
it.
I'm super excited on.
Well, I'm excited to get to promote it once it's ready to go.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to let you know. And I want you to be one of the test people.
Yes.
Because we talked about how we're going to have like a test run and very specific people that we want to come to get feedback from. So you're on the list.
I am so excited. You just made my Sunday. Well, when you hear the name Powerful Ladies, like what does that mean to you? What do those words mean to you individually? Like where does it take you?
So to me, when I think of powerful ladies, I don't necessarily have like one person in mind where it's like, that's who I aspire to be. To me, a powerful lady is someone who has been successful, like despite the fact that she's a woman, because that is very hard in this society. And, there's also a lot of women out there who have led very tough, hard lives, and they have like come out of it and just like flourished. And to me, that's the kind of person that I aspire to be. And those are the kind of women that I think are powerful, and especially ones that, that help other people, other women grow and don't see them as competition. Like that's like total powerful lady to me.
Yeah. And how does it feel when you get to be called a powerful lady?
It's kind of like I'm my own worst enemy. And that's something that I'm working on, is to stop being so negative. But I don't see myself as one, for sure. But when someone says that, it's like huge compliment. I'm like, oh, huge.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, even though I may not believe that I'm a powerful woman, I'm trying to put out there that I am, because I want my daughter to grow into a little powerful lady herself.
I mean, she's already pretty badass.
I know. She's crazy. She's very badass. And yeah, in all the right ways. She's compassionate, but she doesn't take any shit. She's great. Artistic, lovable, shit talker.
One of the most things that have stuck with me that you've said is when you were talking about your daughter is that you just wish you had her earlier because she's so awesome.
Yeah. So David and I, we've been married for 17 years. And when we first got married, we were like, we don't want kids, for sure. Don't want kids. So we had been married for quite some time before we decided we wanted to try. And then it took a while to be able to have her. And he was very much, I was kind of like, I don't care if I have a child or not. And he was very much like, I do not want kids. And when I decided that I wanted to try, he was like, I'll do whatever you want to do. But he didn't really feel like this is something I want. But if you want it, I'll go along with it and hope it works out. So, once we had her, we were both kind of like, she's awesome. And yeah, the only regret we have is that we didn't do it sooner, because we want to be able to spend more of our life with her than we currently are. I do have some friends that don't have children and they don't want to have children, which is fine. It's not for everyone, but it's definitely, it's just, you don't know until you have one what you've been missing.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
Especially for such a awesome kid like Sloan.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's funny. She immediately had her own personality. Like, you think everything is inherited or whatever, but she's like very much her own person, which is fun to watch, to see. Like, I how are you going to turn out? Like, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
No idea what she's going to turn into. Yeah, it's fun every day to see. I mean, she's 8, and I swear to God, she's like a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
because she has so many opinions, and like that are of her own, like not one that she's getting from me or David. And
Mm-hmm.
it's cool.
I feel like you could almost do an entire book just of things Sloan has said.
Oh, I know. She asked me the other day what her first word was, and I was like, oh, like I can't find. I had a little like baby diary
Mm-hmm.
thing, and it's locked away. And then I remembered that it wasn't a word, it was a phrase, and it was, here you go. Here you go. From like whenever she would like be crying or da da da, and I'd be like, here you go. Here you go. So, and I was like, oh, I totally remember, because she would be in her crib, like crying or wanting to get out or whatever, and she'd be crying, here you go. Here you go. And I'm like, what did you just say? Here you go.
Oh, I remember laughing so hard at stories you would tell at work or whatever she had done that, night before, that weekend. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of my biggest motivators for wanting to have kids, is just wanting to see what comes out of their mouths. Like,
Yeah.
pure entertainment.
The other day. So yeah, things have gotten, we're in quarantine, and she's here all the time, and she's very feisty. And her and my husband, they're like siblings, and she's like the older one that bullies him. It's crazy. Like, they just argue like kids, but only one of them's a kid. And so she said something. She was like in the bathroom, supposed to be brushing her teeth. Like, that's when we get the most shit from her, is when it's bedtime. Mm-hmm. And so I was in the living room. He was in the kitchen. She was brushing her teeth, and she was talking back, saying something, and I don't know exactly what she said. And he goes, "What? Did you just call me a dickhead?" And she's like, "No, I didn't call you a dickhead, you dickhead." And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I start cracking up in the other room.
I would too.
She doesn't even know what it. Yeah. And he kind of started laughing too. But then now that word is in her vocabulary. And I'm like, it's okay if you say that here. Once you go back to school, you can't say that.
Yeah. That'll get you in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. But it has come out a couple times during the quarantine.
Oh my goodness.
She still doesn't know what it means. She just knows it means like, you're a jerk.
Uh-huh.
Stop being a dickhead. And I'm like, nope, don't say that.
I can only imagine how many other families are going through similar situations right now. Like, because I'm sure also as a parent, like at your capacity for parenting, with like, you just don't have any more space in your brain to like handle things. Yeah. You're like, well, I'm not going to parent that right now. Just let that slide.
Oh yeah. There's lots of things sliding right now. I'd be like, do you want ice cream for breakfast? Yeah, I don't care. Just fine. Just stop talking, please, for like 2 minutes. Can you stop talking? Yeah, it's been great. She, I think one of the funniest things she said, man, she must have been 3 at the time. And I was like, it was bedtime, and I had read her a story, and, she wanted to stay up and wanted me to stay in the room. And I'm like, no, it's, I read you a story. It's time for you to go to sleep. Well, I want you to snuggle. I'm like, I can't, because I had to finish up some work or whatever. And she's like, can you have Dad come in here? And I was like, yeah, sure. And she's like, I'm going to ask Dad if he'll give me, she's like, have him give me a kiss goodnight. And I was like, okay, because you have to go to sleep. Okay. So he goes in there, and I hear them kind of talking, and he doesn't come out. And I look, and he's reading her a book. Like, she got him to read a book.
Mm-hmm. And
I go, what's going on in here? And he was like laughing, and he's like, do you know what she said to me? And I go, what? He goes, well, she's being all cute, and I got in here to say goodnight. She's, Daddy, will you read me a book? And he's like, no, it's bedtime. Daddy, please, will you read me a book? And he's like, all right, what book do you want? And she goes, Sucker.
She already knew. She already knew how to manipulate the situation. Yeah. Age 3.
Yeah. sucker. I'm like, how do you know what a sucker is?
Mm-hmm.
You just called your dad a sucker, and he's a sucker. He still does that too. Still. Sucker.
Sometimes it's a sucker, sometimes it's called love. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When, I think that eight is such a pivotal age, and I reference it a lot for being like, if I can make 8-year-old me happy, I feel like I'm winning at life, because you're in that zone of like being like developed enough to have ideas of like what life is like as a grown up, or what you want to do, or being able to manage your own kind of projects. But you're also still in that space where anything is possible. Like logic, it only half applies, and it's actually more fun if it's more ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
When you look back at, put yourself in 8-year-old Miranda's shoes, would she expect you to have had the career you've had and to be where you're at now?
Definitely not. Definitely not. When I was 8, I was actually like, it was not a pretty picture. I was like, I have a very rough childhood. So at 8, I think I had like physical abuse, mental, and just like no one, like my mother never being there.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I remember I was trying, like Sloan was asking me, what did you want to be when you were my age?
Yeah.
And I was like, so I had to think back, what did I want to be? And I realized that at her age, all that I wanted was to be an adult so that I could live on my own and take care of myself and not have to depend on anyone else. But beyond that, I didn't have any aspirations of like being my own boss or having a family, because I just didn't think that was possible. And like people don't get to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the 8-year-old me would be like, whoa, you did all that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and I think even like, how you talked about what you at 8 was really like, I think just even like how much hope would she have had knowing how much fun you're going to have?
Yeah, so much.
Mm-hmm.
So much. Yeah.
It's wild, right? It's wild what everyone's backstory is and where everyone keeps going. And, how, besides, you're definitely independent, right? Check that box.
Yeah.
You're definitely an adult. Check.
Yeah.
When you look back at what else, like the things you see in yourself that came from that tough girl, like what else can you give yourself credit for?
Well, I think that, being in the situation that I was in as a child, it made me very, like empathetic and sensitive to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And, whether or not I wanted to, I was always the caregiver from like a very, very young age.
Mm-hmm.
I was the one taking care of everything. And I think that's made me like a very compassionate person. And I always feel the need to want to like take care of people and make things better for them, which for me has been, maybe the only positive thing that came from my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would probably say that. And also to always be hyper aware of money
Mm-hmm.
because I grew up very, very poor. And I was probably from the age of 4, I knew what a bill was and I knew how important it was to pay them and that you needed money.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, probably that as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, who you are for me and like what a powerful lady you are. And that like, I know whenever we're hanging out, I'm going to be laughing. I'm going to be having fun. And I love that we get to like, there's few people that you cross paths with that you can do like a lot of great work with and have fun the whole time. Because some people it's like, it's just work, it's work, it's work. But I always felt with you, like if we were on a project together, I was like, yes, because I knew that you would bring everything to the table. I knew that I would, and I knew that it would be way easier and more fun than like how a lot of other people would show up to do work. So
Yeah.
I think that you have done an amazing job. So 8-year-old you is definitely proud.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sense of humor thing. Yeah, I didn't think of that, but for me, it was like a coping mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
or like, some sort of defense mechanism where it's like, just make a joke out of it. And, you just got to laugh at somehow.
Mm-hmm.
If you're laughing, even in times of despair, it will change your mood. So for me, I would always try to like make a joke out of things.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's like I hide behind it, but it's just like part of who I am now. I'm just always cracking jokes.
Yes. Yes. When you look at, in addition to your really strong group of girlfriends, who are other women that have like been mentors or inspirations to you along the way?
I would have to say there's one woman in my life who she's not a family member, but I've known her for most of my life because she was a family friend.
Mm-hmm.
And she's always been kind of like my stand-in mother. Like, she's always supported me throughout the years, and we can go like several years without talking. And, when I see her, she's just like, she's the best. And she's very much like, I learned later in life, like once I was older and I was talking about like real life things with her, that she also had like a background of abuse and all these things. And I couldn't believe that like she was as strong as she was. And, she's always making a difference in her community. Like she goes and she writes bills for Congress, and she does all this lobbying, and like she fights for people. And yeah, for me, I feel really fortunate to have her in my life. Mm-hmm. And she's a great role model.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We ask everyone on the show where you put yourself on the Powerful Lady scale. 0 being average everyday human and 10 being super powerful lady. Where do you put yourself today, and where would you put yourself on average?
Oh, let's see. So 0 is what? Just a regular
ordinary human.
Regular human. I would say I'm probably a 4 right now. I'm about a 4. And that's because I am working. I'm working on it. And I definitely know that there are better things to come.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that I'm going to definitely go up the scale, the Powerful Lady scale for sure.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I personally am so excited for where you're at right now. I like just you having the freedom to do with what you want with your time that moves what you want forward. Like, because you've worked so hard for other people's visions and what was coming. And for how creative and smart and resourceful and just all the things that you bring to the table, for you to actually use those for what you want to do now, I'm like, oh, so, like think about what you've already created when you were doing it as a side hustle. And I'm like, I cannot wait for what you're coming up with because it's going to be awesome. And yeah, like whatever you need, you let me know because I am totally on Team Miranda.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting for sure. I need to stay in like the positive zone, because I'm far too practical. That's just like how my life has been, and I'm trying to get out of that box. But yeah, I'm like, even if I'm fighting myself, being like, this doesn't make sense. This isn't like, no, I'm just like, I'm doing it anyways. I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. Like, shut up. We're doing this.
Just get in the car.
Yeah. Shut up. Get in the car.
Mm-hmm. What do you do to get yourself into that mindset? Like, is there music you play? You talked about calling people. Like, what can you do in the moment when you're like, all right, we need to turn this around and let's go?
Well, So definitely music. Music has always been my escape.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, when I have to get into like a positive, good mood, I'm like, okay, 80s new wave. You cannot get mad when that music is playing. Or like if I'm like, that's if like, okay, I need to get amped. We're doing this. Yes, 80s new wave. If I need to just chill out because I'm stressed,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to listen to some yacht rock for sure. But the music, yeah, music helps. That sets the tone. And then I'm reading a couple of different books right now.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself.
Ooh.
It's awesome. It's by Shad Helmstetter, and he's like a psychologist. And it's how to stop the negative self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's how to like reprogram your subconscious to be more positive. So I'm almost done with that book. And then I'm also, at the same time, I'm reading Tiny Habits and going through those exercises as well
Mm-hmm.
to try to like stop the negativity. So, some of the exercises are wake up every day and started off with a positive affirmation. And so the one that I'm going with is today's going to be a great day.
Ooh, I like that.
And even if he says, oh my gosh, who's the writer for Tiny Habits? I totally forgot his name. BJ.
Oh, let me pull it up right now.
Fogg.
Oh, okay.
BJ Fogg.
There you go.
So I listened to one of his TED Talks and before I started reading the book, and he was talking about the tiny step or the tiny habit was wake up every morning and say, today's going to be a great day. And even if you're going through times of like, whatever, like, someone in your family died, like it's just very, very dire, then you say, today is going to be a great day somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I'm going to start doing that. And sometimes I forget if I'm rushing to do something, I forget to say it. So I wrote it on a Post-it and stuck it to the wall next to my nightstand. So it'd be the first thing I saw. And it totally helps. And you say it audibly.
Mm-hmm.
There's more impact. So my husband heard me and he's like, what'd you say? And I'm like, I said, today's going to be a great day. And he's like, okay. And it has like, when you say it out loud,
Mm-hmm.
the people in this house have been like, it changed their mood too. Like I walked out of my office one day and the two of them were like arguing and I go, hey, you guys. And they like stop and look at me both like pissed. And I'm like, today's going to be a great day. And they're kind of like, what's up with her? But it like changed their mood. And the next time I came out of my office, they were like normal, having a good day. So now the three of us always say it throughout the day. Today's going to be a great day.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's true, right? Like it really can be.
Yeah. There's so much that subconsciously you can really drive yourself down.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you don't even know that you're having these negative thoughts because it's in your subconscious. So you have to retrain yourself with like, the goofy new age daily affirmations. Like that's another thing I'm doing every morning when I wake up. I listen to 15 minutes of like a day of I am great, that kind of stuff. And the author was saying that even if you're not paying attention or like actively paying attention to everything they're saying, your subconscious is hearing that. And your subconscious believes what it hears. So when it's hearing, I am successful, I am happy, I am great. If your subconscious hears it enough, it believes that to be true. And those are the messages you're sending yourself. And then, once the negativity is gone, it opens up all these doors that were holding you back. So I'm trying to deprogram myself right now.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Jesse and I have a pretty consistent habit. It's not daily because life happens, but we're pretty consistent in asking each other like what we're creating that day. And that's kind of like, who are you going to be today? Or if like, you have a big meeting, like I'm going to win that meeting. I'm going to do this. And it helps not only because you get to declare it out loud, like to the same habits that you're talking about, but now I know like what game he's playing today. So I get to like follow up and be like,
Yeah.
how'd that meeting go? Otherwise, I wouldn't even know we'd have a meeting that mattered.
Yeah.
Because it's so much of work it doesn't cross over. I think my favorite thing about, maybe not my favorite thing, but one of the things I really enjoy about being an entrepreneur is that the crossover happens more fluidly. Like life, work, like what are all the intentions get to like line up and like be going in the same direction versus opposite.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Yeah, I've been trying to be more present, like when David is talking, because before I would be like, come home from work, just like so drained, and he would start talking to me about something, and I would just be like, boop,
yeah,
turning off my brain now. I'm not listening to you anymore.
yeah.
But being here and like working from home, and he works from home now, I like understand a lot more of what he's doing, and I've been able to help him with some of his businesses because I'm actually listening to what his issues are, and there's a lot of experience I have where this whole time I could have been helping him, but I was just like, meh, you do your thing, I'm doing mine. So yeah, being in quarantine has actually helped us like come together. Like we're not driving each other crazy. We're kind of like learning new things about each other,
which is awesome.
And helping each other out. Like I was thinking, he's gonna laugh when he sees this book I'm reading, just because the cover of it, what to say when you're talking to yourself, but yeah, he's not at all. Like he's like, that's great, what does it say? Like, oh, I'm gonna do that too. I'm like, really? Thought you were gonna like laugh at me. He's like, no, I have your back, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, great.
Oh, that makes my heart warm.
Yeah.
No, it's like you guys are a great team, right?
Yeah, he's super supportive. Like it took me a while to, even though he was my husband and I loved him, I have these walls, and my girlfriends were the only ones that I felt like I could talk to or rely on or depend on. And I've slowly learned over our 20 years together that he's like one of my girlfriends. Like he also has my back.
Yeah.
And I can depend on him and rely on him. Yeah.
And how awesome is that for like Sloan to see? Like not only does she get badass, professional parents and business-minded entrepreneurial parents, but she gets parents that are actually a team.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know what that is like at all. So it's got to be good for her. I've heard that that's good. So
yeah. What else would you like to share with everyone listening today before we wrap up?
Well, let's see. If they like comics or graphic novels, they should go to thesecretheadquarters.com because we're still ordering books for people and we're shipping them out. It takes your mind off of the politics of what's going on. There's so many different graphic novels out there that don't have to do with superheroes, which is my personal kind of lane that I take with comics. It's all of the non-superhero kind of like just normal people in graphic form. It's fun. So there's that. Check out the FloridaMadCardGame.com. We're doing that promotion for quarantine. Have some fun times with your friends, play some Zoom games, play with us as soon as we figure out when we can all get together and do the Zoom game. And also Raccoon Party, Idyllwild. That is our Instagram for our vacation homes in Idyllwild. If people want to check it out, and if they want to go on Airbnb and book it, they can mention Powerful Ladies and we'll give them a discount.
Ooh, fancy.
Yes.
I think this has been so incredible. Thank you for being just so like honest and authentic and like really telling your story because it's so important, right? People need to know that just like you didn't think it was possible to have everything that you have, that they can. And
Yeah.
that you've been like this career boss lady and now you're pivoting again. And like, there's so much fun in that. Like, what is it to lean in on learning and the curiosity and recreating it? I like, that gets me excited. That's where I get to nerd out.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to know that you're not stuck in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you weren't meant to only do this one thing. Like you can branch out, you can reinvent yourself at any age.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't miss the boat because you're 30 and, you're stuck doing whatever it is you're doing. Like it's and you can change at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never too late as long as you're still breathing and able to, make things happen. It's never too late to change your course.
Yeah. And like, and have fun with it, right? Like,
yeah,
if you don't have fun with what you're doing, change. Don't know where to start, ask for help. That's what Powerful Ladies is for.
I know. Get into it. Look into it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, this has been awesome. This has been honestly just fun. And we could do this for hours. So I hope that we get to have you on again. And I just look forward to everyone checking out your game and what's next. And I'm excited for this magical retreat that's coming up.
I know. Me too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Miranda is strong, resilient, and smart. I love that each new business that she or her husband comes up with all start with, wouldn't it be fun if? And I love that they've solved problems for their own life. The comic book store they dreamed of, the game they wanted, the vacation that they imagined. Miranda's portfolio of businesses show that businesses don't need to start from a place of business plans and spreadsheets, but from imagination, creativity, and problem solving. What problems do you want to solve? What would make your life better? Also within her story, I hear the transition from her passive, steady response of, okay, to opportunities in life, which is the quieter, more systematic and skeptical version of let's do this, to becoming a more bold yes. It's the reality she's created with love, success, and family, taking up more and more space in her heart and mind from the past that told her to expect so little. And what a beautiful transition that is for such a beautiful human. To connect, support, and follow Miranda as well as her businesses, you can go on Instagram and follow at the Florida Man Card Game, at the SHQ for the Secret Headquarters comic book store, and at Raccoon Party Idyllwild for all of her rental properties. You can also visit their websites, FloridaManCardGame.com, thesecretheadquarters.com. Really exciting for everyone listening. If you would like to buy your own version of the Florida Man card game or the Florida Woman card game, you can get 25% off your purchase right now if you use code LATERGATOR. Also, if you are looking to check out her amazing rental properties for your next incredible vacation, you can get 20% off your stay by mentioning Powerful Ladies in your request on Airbnb for both Raccoon Ridge or Raccoon Rock, her two properties. I hope you've enjoyed this new episode of the Powerful Ladies podcast. If you're a yes to Powerful Ladies and want to support us, you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Make sure to give us a 5-star rating and leave a powerful review on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Powerful Ladies. Be sure to also subscribe to our YouTube page. Of course, visit our website, thepowerfulladies.com, and make sure you sign up for our newsletter. We do not send out a lot, but when we do, it's all about new options for courses, activities, and things that we're creating just for you. And most exciting, you can now become a member of the Powerful Ladies Thrive Collective, our online membership community. This is where you get to turbo boost your business idea, your side hustle, and your career. Each month we go through new topics, so you get to learn a new skill every month, and we're going to make sure that you have more clarity, confidence, tools, and resources at your side so that you can be the most powerful lady you can. you can be your most powerful lady. You can sign up for the Thrive Collective at thepowerfulladies.com. I'd like to thank our producer and audio engineer, Jordan Duffy. Without her, this wouldn't be possible. You can follow her on Instagram at Jordan K. Duffy. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, I hope you're taking on being powerful in your life. Go be awesome and up to something you love.